Hey everyone, check this out. So I want to make a video today. We had some friends over this weekend trying to stay out of the cold weather. Hopefully it's not too cold where you're at. It's almost, I think it's about 7 degrees out here in Michigan right now. A conversation that came up this weekend, one of our friends is looking to get a vehicle. We're trying to find a good lease deal, trying to find out what works best for her, and just honestly do what every American's trying to do, just keep the most money in their pocket. And one of the articles that came up, we started talking about, and a lot of people have probably seen this, is Hertz is getting rid of 20,000 electric vehicles right now. And they're getting rid of a bunch of Teslas and going back to gasoline cars instead. And I started thinking about this. I'm like, this is a great opportunity to kind of make a video about this, because we started looking into this. I'm thinking, man, you might be able to get a really good deal on an electric vehicle. Maybe it actually starts making sense for a lot of people that wouldn't own an electric vehicle. This couple had never owned an electric vehicle before, and I haven't owned one before either. I'd ordered a Lightning back a few years ago when there was the launch of the Ford Lightning, because I thought it was just going to be such a bargain. And then the prices went through the roof, so I dropped that whole idea. Regardless of that, I want to make a video about this because there's a few things that I think you need to really think about when you buy an electric vehicle in January of 2024. There's been some changes due to taxes and some things that you don't get the same credits as if you buy a new electric vehicle versus a used. And if you don't do this correctly, you're going to lose out on a lot of money. And so I want to kind of share some highlights with you guys. So first off, if you've never bought a vehicle owned by a rental car company, you got to inspect these things big time, because they typically, if you've ever rented a car before, they have pretty tough lives. And I'm speaking from personal experience. We actually purchased a 2010 Ford Fusion in 2011. This car only had 19,000 miles on it. I bought it because it was in great shape. It was at a Ford dealership, clean Carfax, no accidents, everything looked nice. 19,000 miles in a 1-year-old car, and in less than 15,000 miles, this thing had to have a new engine in it, could have had a crack in the engine block. And then we went in for the next oil change, and the dealership said, your transmission is leaking oil or something, and now it needs a new transmission. And while he was saying this, the technician actually said it looked like this vehicle had had a really hard life because components were wearing out on this pretty quickly. After that experience with that rental car, I would never buy a used rental car again, because to be honest with you, it was so beat up and just it had such a hard life, you're taking a lot of risk. Now, I can't imagine buying a used electric vehicle because there's more things to consider. First, one of the things I started thinking about is, okay, your battery in an electric vehicle is on the bottom of the car. Someone goes and gets a rental car and they hit a curb or they go over a curb. So what I would recommend, if you're planning to buy a used electric vehicle, pay to get an inspection. Find some shop in the area or a dealership or something to get underneath the undercarriage. Make sure this thing hasn't had any damage to the battery or suspension. Go through the whole vehicle, because if there's any damage to the battery, it won't matter if the vehicle's under manufacturer's warranty. You're not going to be covered by a warranty if the thing has been damaged, and then you're going to have to make an insurance claim. You don't want to go through that. That's just general for all used cars, especially rental cars. But today's whole video is focusing on the Hertz situation. So my first thought when I saw this was, man, if Hertz is going to unleash 20,000 Teslas into the market, this is going to drop the value of these things a ton, which is good for a lot of people. Maybe they're going to be able to get a vehicle they wouldn't afford otherwise, which is great. But if you're not careful, you're not going to get a good deal at all. And in fact, you could probably buy a new one for the same price or less. And here's what I want to show. So here's an article in CNN, and it kind of talks about this, where Hertz is selling 20,000 electric vehicles to buy gas cars instead. So clearly there's something changed in Hertz where they found the business case or the customer use. People are just maybe not interested in the Teslas with their rental program. I'm not really sure. There's a lot of different angles on this, and a lot of people are trying to politicize this. That's not the point of this whole video. The point of this whole video is you guys getting the best value on a used electric vehicle. Okay, so here's the article for Hertz. Now what I want to kind of do is I'm going to show you the Hertz website where you can kind of go in, and I specifically selected one of these, a 2022 Tesla Model Y long range. This one's got 59,000 miles on it, and you can kind of go through and you can do an auto check, which is like a Carfax, and you can go through this whole thing. So the cool thing with a Tesla is if you go and check it out, you can look at the battery health. So it kind of gives you an idea of the condition of the battery. And obviously this vehicle is still under warranty, which is good. But here's the part that I think is interesting. Look at the price of this, $36,000 for a 2022 Model Y long range with 59,000 miles. So there's a lot of videos and there's a lot of information out there, including Hertz, saying you can qualify and get a credit for a used electric vehicle. That's true, but there's a few conditions that have to be met. And if you don't do this and you don't do your homework up front, you're going to lose out on a lot of money, and you might be really mad with purchasing a used electric vehicle. Number one, first and foremost, let's focus on this price, $36,000. I'm just going to go real quick off the top and look on Tesla's website and look at one of these vehicles today. $48,000, okay? If we look in the details, this is a brand new Tesla. If we look at this, it's $48,000. You're actually going to get this vehicle brand new for $41,000. Let's not even include fuel savings. $41,000 for a 2024 Tesla Model Y, or you can get a used one for $36,000. But then you'd say, yeah, but you're going to get a rebate on the used one. You won't, because if you look at the price of this is $36,000. According to the rules for 2024 for the tax credit, to get a $4,000 tax credit, but only on a fraction of some of the EVs, you have to qualify for a few things. Number one, the price can't exceed $25,000. Right there, you're pretty much going to rule out almost every Model Y and a lot of Model 3s. So if the used vehicle, or if the electric vehicle that's used is selling for more than $25,000, you're not going to get that. Second thing about this is you have to make sure you qualify even if the vehicle qualifies for the EV tax credit. So if your adjusted gross income is above $150,000 for the household or the family, you're not going to qualify. Reason this is important is this is different than new. If it's new vehicle, it's actually different. There's actually different rules right here. So I'm sharing the screen again. $300,000 if you're for a new electric vehicles, or $150,000 for used. So if you want to maximize and get the best deal on an electric vehicle and get the full $4,000 credit, you got to make sure the vehicle is less than $25,000, and you have to make sure that your AGI for your family is less than $150,000. If either of those don't work, then you're not getting a credit. And then I still don't even understand the whole point of this. I wouldn't even consider a used Tesla from some of the prices I've seen at $36,000. It makes no sense. Number one, you don't get a credit where you do get a credit on a brand new one. So you could get this vehicle brand new for $41,000, or you could get a 2-year-old rental car with 59,000 miles on it to save $5,000. It doesn't make sense. Now, if we look at some of these other vehicles, let's say we click on, we go, so you can see right now they got 575 Teslas. Now, if we look at some of these, here's one for 26,000. Then we will click on, let's make sure we can find even a Model 3. And let's just for price, let's say less than 25,000. Okay, so of all the cars listed, they had 575 Teslas listed on Hertz website. Only 17,000 would qualify to get the EV tax credit. So do your homework on this. So here you go, $22,000. Not bad, actually. I mean, when you think about it, you're getting 22,000 and then you get another 4,000 underneath that. So you could potentially get a Tesla for $18,000. That's actually not a bad option. So anyhow, I hope this video is helpful. Whole point of this is do your homework, make sure you maximize. But generally speaking, in a lot of these cases, you're actually going to get a better value still if you buy brand new versus buying used. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.